Frustration and controversy. The future of Easton Cowan with the Toronto Maple Leafs after the World Juniors. The disheartening outcome of Canada's campaign at the World Junior Championship continues to resonate among fans and the sports media, with one of the main targets of criticism being Toronto Maple Leafs prospect Easton Cowan. The young forward, who entered the tournament with high expectations, saw his underwhelming performance become the focal point of attention after the team's early elimination in the quarterfinals, losing 4-3 to Czechia. Despite being regarded as one of the team's top prospects, Cowan finished his run with only 3 points in 5 games, a disappointing return that left many analysts unimpressed. Sid Seixeiro, a sports commentator known for his sharp opinions, didn't hesitate to suggest that the Leafs should consider trading the young player before this season's trade deadline. "If I'm the Leafs, Easton Cowan is no longer untouchable ahead of this year's trade deadline. Contrary to what many people think, he still holds value in the market, but Toronto might need to cash in on that sooner rather than later," Seixeiro stated. According to Seixeiro, Cowan's disappointing performance at the tournament has opened a window for Toronto to explore his market value while interest remains. However, this view is far from unanimous. Others argue that it would be a hasty mistake to part with such a promising prospect due to one poor tournament. Among those urging caution is respected journalist Elliotte Friedman, who recently commented, "I know Cowan really struggled over the last couple of weeks, but I think it's crazy to give up on him based on 2 bad weeks. I hear people saying he should be traded. First, his value will never be lower than it is right now. Second, it's insane to give up on someone you think highly of just because of a bad stretch." Friedman emphasizes that while the World Juniors is a high-visibility event, it shouldn't be the sole measure of a young player's potential. At 19 years old, Cowan is still in the early stages of his development, and a rushed decision could come back to haunt the Toronto Maple Leafs in the future. It's also important to note that Canada's campaign as a whole fell short of expectations. The team faced criticism for its roster selection, which excluded several talented players, and for a tactical approach that many deemed questionable. Cowan's performance, therefore, should be viewed within this broader context. Still, there's no denying that expectations were high for the Leafs prospect. He entered the tournament as a key player for Team Canada but ultimately failed to meet those expectations. The pressure of wearing the Canadian jersey, combined with representing one of the NHL's most storied franchises, may have contributed to his subpar performance. Despite the criticism, Cowan remains one of the top names in the Toronto Maple Leafs development system. His blend of skill, vision, and work ethic had impressed the team's management prior to the World Juniors, and there's no reason to believe those attributes have disappeared after a few disappointing games. Throughout their history, the Toronto Maple Leafs have seen prospects who, after early struggles, blossomed into stars. Perhaps it would be wiser to learn from the past and avoid making hasty decisions. Players like Nazem Kadri and William Nylander faced similar scrutiny early in their careers but are now regarded as examples of perseverance and talent. Moreover, Cowan's development could benefit from a patient approach. He still has time to grow, gain experience, and prepare for the NHL's high level of competition. Many experts believe that with proper guidance, he could become a crucial part of the franchise's future. The Toronto Maple Leafs' passionate and demanding fan base has every right to feel frustrated by Canada's elimination at the World Juniors. However, blaming a single player for this disappointment might be unfair and counterproductive. Ultimately, what fans hope for now is that the Leafs management remains calm and evaluates all options carefully. Trading Easton Cowan might seem like an immediate solution to current frustrations, but it could also become a future regret if he develops into a star for another team. The more sensible path might be to continue investing in Cowan's development, giving him the support he needs to overcome this tough phase. After all, every great player faces adversity at some point in their career, and those moments often shape the greatest comeback stories. Now, all that remains is to wait and see what the next chapter of this saga will be. The Leafs management faces the difficult task of balancing expectations with potential, but one thing is certain: the pressure from the fan base for results isn't going away anytime soon. As for Easton Cowan, he'll have to work hard to prove he deserves a spot in the team's future. Whether Cowan becomes a star for the Leafs or a valuable trade chip remains to be seen. For now, though, it seems far too early to give up on him. After all, the kid still has a lot of hockey to play, and we, as Toronto Maple Leafs fans, know how much it's worth believing in our prospects. Given the intensity of Toronto's hockey culture, it's no surprise that prospects like Cowan find themselves under such scrutiny. However, the organization's long-term success has often relied on the ability to nurture young talent rather than reacting impulsively to short-term outcomes. It's crucial to recognize that Cowan's struggles in a high-pressure environment like the World Juniors are not uncommon for young players. Even NHL stars such as Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl faced difficult learning curves early in their careers. The important factor is how players rebound from these experiences. Another consideration is that Cowan brings an element of versatility that the Leafs roster could greatly benefit from in the future. His ability to play both center and wing, combined with his strong two-way game, makes him a valuable asset. These qualities are often hard to replace, and trading a player with such potential for a short-term gain could prove to be short-sighted. Moreover, Toronto's front office has invested significant time and resources into developing Cowan. Abandoning that investment based on one disappointing international tournament might send the wrong message to other prospects in the system. It's vital to instill confidence in young players, especially when they face adversity, to build a winning culture. Looking beyond his recent performance, Cowan's development trajectory remains positive. His statistics in junior hockey, along with glowing scouting reports, indicate that he possesses the tools necessary to succeed at the professional level. Coaches and trainers within the Leafs organization continue to believe in his potential, and it's worth giving him the time to fulfill it. The Leafs are no strangers to high-stakes decision-making, especially as they try to build a championship-caliber team. However, trading promising prospects like Cowan in pursuit of immediate success has historically led to mixed results. The organization must weigh whether short-term gains outweigh the long-term benefits of patience. Additionally, the Leafs have had success stories with other young players who needed time to find their footing. Rasmus Sandin and Timothy Liljegren, for instance, faced early doubts but eventually became important contributors after a period of careful development. Cowan could very well follow a similar path. The risk of trading Cowan is that he could flourish elsewhere and become a player that haunts Toronto for years to come. Leafs fans are well aware of instances where players developed late and achieved great success only after being dealt away. Toronto's management will need to tread carefully to avoid repeating that mistake. In the high-stakes world of professional hockey, it's easy to get caught up in the moment and demand immediate results. But sometimes, the best moves are the ones you don't make. Cowan's story is far from over, and with the right guidance, he could become a key piece of the Leafs' future. Whether or not Cowan will prove himself as a future star in Toronto remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: the organization must make a well-considered decision. Fans will be watching closely, hoping that the Leafs choose the path that leads to lasting success. For now, Cowan needs to put this chapter behind him, refocus, and continue working on his game. The best response to criticism is always performance on the ice, and the young forward has the chance to silence doubters with hard work and determination. If he does, he could still be wearing blue and white when the Leafs finally lift the Stanley Cup. No matter how you view Easton Cowan's performance at the World Juniors, it's clear that his career is just beginning. He's a 19-year-old in the early stages of his development, and his potential hasn't diminished because of a few difficult games. As we've seen countless times before, young players can use adversity as a turning point, learning valuable lessons that shape them into future stars. One of the key aspects often overlooked in discussions like these is mental resilience.